Hello and welcome to the show today. I'm super excited about this one today. I'm Jackie Grant, and this is Menopause Diaries Unfiltered. And I've got over a decade of working with clients peri to post menopause, women experiencing struggling to lose weight. So I work with them, without calorie counting, restrictive dieting, or spending all their time in the gym with natural solutions. And I've delivered workshops, menopause workshops to the NHS, National Health Service, adult learning, whilst running a community interest company in London. And this menopause, where I deliver menopause and women's health cafes. So this is Menopause Diaries, the podcast where we get real about menopause, the weight, the mood, the highs, the lows, the good points, the bad points, unfiltered, unscripted, and unapologetically honest. So today, my guest is Katherine Zammuto. Is that how have I said it wrong?
No, you said it right. Katherine
Brilliant.
Zammuto, yes.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, Katherine. Katherine, do you want to just introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about you.
Well, thank you so much for having me all the way in London. I'm all the way in Beverly Hills, California. I do a podcast show about dating, relationships, society, and culture. I'm an actor, I'm an artist, and I started my life all over again, interestingly enough, a few years ago when after my husband died, passed away. My life turned upside down, and interestingly enough, it was exactly at the same time that I was going through perimenopause and then menopause, and I
Wow.
had to reinvent myself. And I said, you know what, I if I'm at the bottom and everything is collapsing, I'm going to go after my dreams and do everything that I love. And fast forward to today, here we are.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, Catherine. Thanks for sharing that. So, Catherine, what was your journey through menopause? What was it like for you?
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, let's start with the perimenopause, right? It was a few years ago. I was in my late 40s. I think I was around, now I'm 54. So I
Mm,
think I was 46, 47. My
mm.
husband was super sick, by the way, because I was married to an alcoholic for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so my life was falling apart. My mom passed away. I knew my husband was going to die. So I was dealing with this horrible tragedy and chaos around me. And
Mm,
I started feeling, like you mentioned, my body change. I was having less periods and more irregular periods, a little
mm,
bit of mood swings. Yes, I was always very, very skinny. At
mm,
that time, I felt like I gained a little bit of weight and nothing changed.
mm,
So it was weird because I wasn't sure if it was side effects from being, going through menopause, or is it stress from dealing with so much at the same time? So
mm.
that's how my journey started, everything at once.
Yeah, it's so true because, actually having, you know, we forget that, grief happens as well as
Yeah,
menopause, and it can happen at the same time. I had a similar thing.
yeah,
Um, my dad died in 21 and then my mum died in 22. So,
oh,
it's really difficult because that those times you kind of think, am I having these kind of symptoms because of
yeah.
grief, you know?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I always say on my show, now looking back, life happens, right? Life
Yes.
keeps happening. It
Mm,
doesn't wait for us to
no.
adapt, right? Oh, okay, this woman is going through menopause, stop everything. So we need to figure out ways to push forward with whatever it is that we're going through and not let it affect every area of our lives. And I think that's the biggest difficulty for a lot of women.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because we've got so much going on anyway without,
Yeah.
other trials and tribulations coming along. So, you know, it can be so difficult. It can be so difficult to pinpoint what's going on. But like you say, life goes on and we just have to, whatever comes up, we have to have the resilience to move through it as best we
Yes.
can.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah.
So when you said that so you had all these symptoms, you had, loads going on in terms of that. How did you manage that?
Yeah. Yeah, so and I'm not gonna say it was easy, by the way, but
Mm,
so my husband passed away a year after my mom, and my life turned upside down, huge chaos. I was having to rebuild everything from zero.
mm,
So at that time, the first 2 years were definitely a struggle, but at one point, I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, you know what? You are going through this no matter what, right? You are not getting any younger. You
mm,
have to find a way to push forward. So, in my case, and by the way, I want to make it clear, I'm not a doctor and I'm not an expert. I just like sharing with other women what worked for me, and I really believe makes a difference. I decided to change my mindset. And instead of looking at menopause like something so negative, which unfortunately, in a lot of cultures, at least here in the United States, most conversations about menopause are always very negative, right? Like people almost feel sorry for us, like it's some kind of
yes,
disease, and it's
yes,
not. It's
yes.
a phase. So I decided for myself that I was going to embrace it and be proud of my age, be proud of that stage in my life, tell everybody the truth about that's how I started my show. I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell everybody the truth, what I'm going through, what happened, the trauma, and I'm going to put out there because it's not about being perfect. It's just about powering through the best way we can. And I believe that the mindset is a game changer. If we
Mm.
decide to be positive about it, all of a sudden your body responds to how your mind thinks. And I don't know if you agree with me because you're the expert, but that was the first step for me to start feeling better about myself and actually moving on with my life.
No, it's so true. It's so true because, I had a time where I was just like, these hot sweats, I can't bear them. I can't bear them. And instead of going, well, I've got no control over this, how can I take control of it and shift it? It's like, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. And I just like, I decided to go with soya beans and throw them on everything. They're going to be gone. I'll throw, I use the soya beans. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. And they've gone.
Yeah, I
So,
think, yeah, it's like you said, night sweats, for example, right? A lot of women suffer from that, but all they focus on is the night sweat, right? I have a friend that I was going through that last year. She's like, I'm so hot, I'm so hot. And I
yeah,
said, well, how about just a silly example? How
yeah.
about you crank down the AC? And then you focus on that, like, oh, I'm so lucky that I have AC and I can crank it down even more. And then she was like, wow, yeah, why didn't I think about that? Because
Mm,
we have the tendency of focusing so much on the problem instead of just like coming up with a solution for
that's
the problem.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And that's it, isn't it? It's finding the solution and believing that that solution is going to work. if
Yes,
if you don't
yes,
believe in the first
yeah,
place, then it's not going to work. Because
right,
you're already constantly bringing that in. You're bringing in, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Whereas, like,
exactly,
this is going to
yes.
work. It's like you totally believe it.
Yeah, I think a lot of women because again, I believe that most conversations about menopause are so negative, even coming from doctors. So I think a lot of women, even before they get to menopause, it's almost like a car with no brakes. They're so afraid. They're so afraid. They think, oh my God, menopause is like this horrible car accident, so to speak. And it's not. If you embrace it just as a new phase in your life, I think, again, the mindset does wonders. It's not a negative thing. It's just our body changing. It's just, okay, there's hormone changes and all that stuff, but it's not like, a death sentence. Like, I think a lot of
No,
women look at it like, oh, my life is over. And it's
yeah,
not true at all.
no, you're so right. It's not a death sentence. It's like you said originally. You said it's a transition. It's a phase. It's like we transitioned into puberty. We're just
Mm-hmm.
transitioned into another stage. We transitioned if we had babies. If you had babies or not, you transitioned into that. Then now you're transitioning into the other side. And actually, this is the best time. You've got more than likely, if you have kids, you've got more time. You might have older parents that you might be looking after, or but you still, it's more about thinking, what would I love to do now?
Yeah.
What would give me
Yeah.
so much joy? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I agree with you. I think for a lot of women, if you embrace it and you understand that it can be a wonderful time in your life, it can be the best chapter. For
Yeah.
me, I can say that I've never been happier, more fulfilled. I don't judge my body anymore. I think it's about like tender loving care. And I do understand, again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm sure some women need medication,
Yes.
hormone replacement. So I'm
Yes.
not gonna dabble that. However, if you do take care of your body, simple things like working out, long walks, sunshine, eat wholesome meals that nourish you. That's the things that I do that started making me feel so amazing. And I
Mm,
tell everybody, like, I think I've never felt better. I've never
mm,
been happier. I think we start not caring as much about what other people think about us and our
yeah.
body. So I think there are a lot of positives about it for
There
sure.
are, there are. And I mean, like you say, it is about self-care. Like,
Hmm.
starting to think, I need to care for myself now a bit more than I did. It's
Yes.
time to make space for that. Have your
Yes.
massages, have your nice hot bath with lavender in it in the night.
Yes.
Really start to embrace these self-care rituals that sometimes, like, we just seem to be busy and don't make time for it.
Yes, it's so true. I think you need to, yes, absolutely make time for yourself, make yourself a priority. If you're single, of course, I always say, I'm like now I'm single, and I say, make all your dreams come true, work on your side projects, go full power ahead, whatever you left behind, maybe like you mentioned, you were raising kids, whatever it is that you were doing before. But even if you have a partner, whatever it is, have that conversation. I'm in a new phase in my life, and I definitely need me time. This is what's important to me. Like, make a list of things that are important to you. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to move our body, because I know a lot of women complain about weight gain, which is true. A
Mm.
lot of women gain weight and the famous menopause belly, but I do believe if you stay active, it minimizes that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, the whole food, all of it comes into like a holistic way of thinking
Mm-hmm.
of things. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You need to do all of it, but not do all of it straight away. It's start to build in things slowly, and you know, you'll start to feel better.
Yes,
Because
1,000,000%. Yes, absolutely.
so really, in terms of what you've used your mindset, you've used natural solutions
Yes.
to get where you are right now and get
Yeah.
exactly how you feel, the same as
Yeah.
natural solutions.
It honestly really, really worked for me
Mm,
in every area. Like you said, the hot sweats, my hot sweats were never super bad, but I think there are many solutions for that. For me, it's like if you have AC, crank down the AC. Don't sleep with a hot comforter. There are a lot of cooling sheets out in the market nowadays,
yeah.
especially made for women going through menopause. And then if you don't sleep well, that one thing that really worked for me, like I said, move your body. Exercise, exercise, exercise. By the time I go to sleep, I am so tired. It really helped me start
Mm,
sleeping better. I just make
mm,
sure 7 days a week, I
mm,
do something, something. If you
mm,
don't go to the gym, go for a walk around the block, walk your dogs, anything. And this, I know they're holistic and natural, but at least for me, they made wonders,
yeah.
wonders. And in terms of the belly fat, weight gain, same thing. I made minor tweaks in the way I eat, my
Mm,
nutrition, and I never had a better body. It takes a little bit of time, but the
mm,
more clean and healthy, the more you nourish your body responds going through menopause or not, by the way.
Mm, mm, mm. Brilliant. So thank you so much,
Of
Katherine.
course.
So where can people find you? Because
I'm very foundable.
findable.
Yeah, I'm on Google. I have Instagram, Kat Zammuto, Katzammuto. Cat on the Loose Show. We have new episodes on all platforms every Wednesdays. So I'm out there. If anybody wants to send a message, if you guys need encouragement, I just want women to know that it's not, if you start looking at menopause as something bad and you start embracing it as a beautiful phase in your life, you're gonna go through it a lot in a lot easier way, I think.
Definitely. So thank you so much for being a guest today.
Of course.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
everyone for watching and listening. And if you have any questions for me or my guests, just ask them in the comments, like or subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.